Just really quick for building off our last episode about the PS5. Because right now there's price leaks that's going around on Amazon, uh, and I peeped on Amazon France that the digital only version it came up, so the prices were up and then it was taking down like the other day, like this week. But the digital version supposedly it was gonna go for um, approximately, because it was in euros, approximately 450 for the digital only and around 565 for the regular. And then not only that, they also had a date like November, like it was like dated for November, like November 20th, something like that, like a week before Black Friday. So it was like a peak holiday season shopping is supposedly the PS5 will be coming out this year.
Yeah, I feel like we're about to go right back through the PS3 time again, where this shit was like dumb expensive, and Xbox was killing shit because their system wasn't so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna depend on what Xbox launches with. Like, if I can get Halo for like a decent price and not have to spend like $500-600 to jump in on like their AAA title, then like for me as a consumer, that might be worth it.
Yeah, man. You already know me, bro. I miss me some Halo. I don't think my computer could run uh the the collection, the Halo, yeah, the Master Chief collection.
You
That
might be able to.
I mean, at least want to run Halo 3. If I can run Halo 3 and then like Halo 3 online, I'll be satisfied. Halo 2, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready to go back. Halo 2 was a savage time, but not to even get sidetracked into that, because that might be its own deep. That might be on my own deep dive piece about Halo. That was like my first shooter, like I was really serious about with Halo, and that got me into shooters. Was Halo, but um, yeah, like no, to your point, nah, yeah, it seems like yeah we've seen this before. Like drop, like console comes out peak holiday season, but console, everybody knows PlayStation, can't go around PlayStation, but like back then for like there wasn't that many titles to play. Like the launch titles weren't that great, or there was only a few, so everyone was playing like the same game. um when launch titles come out, like everyone's playing the same, like 3-4 games basically. um I don't know if like we said, we saw the reveal, we saw the PS5 reveal, we saw the launch titles that are aimed to come out. First one being Miles Morales, which is, for me, when I think about it, it does seem like it is. I feel like it is going to be a good game, just given how Spider-Man did and then the reviews for Spider-Man. But at the same time, it's like it's still Spider-Man in the sense that you know like they did some talk about it, and like kind of like what kind of game it was gonna be. Like if it was gonna be like more so an additional story and an expansion to Spider-Man in the way it's like it will feel, or like how different of a game it will be compared to the Spider-Man that came out for PS4. So it's hard to say. Is like for me, that's like a brand new launch title into the series that I'm like that counts. I'm like I don't know if Spider-Man Miles Morales counts for me like a launch title compared to like when new consoles come out. Um, so like compared to everything else that we might get as well, then I guess to like Horizon Zero Dawn. Um, Damn, I gotta look at that list again. But you get my point. But so like you tell me, man. Like
So
is
he-
what are we doing here?
what's gonna happen is gonna be largely based on what the launch date stuff is. So um, the PS4 launch like day one games were not good. They didn't have any really good. They didn't have any good console exclusives. Um, Everything else they had was also on Xbox. The thing that set Xbox apart was the price, for one, because it was $100 more, and then two, that it forced to connect on people, and a lot of people didn't really want to use Connect.
Right.
There was no option without it. Um, PlayStation needs a strong launch title, like a really strong day one launch to justify it being more expensive than the Xbox, because it more than likely will be. Like there's rumors that the Series X is one thing, but then there's a Series S, which is going to be on the cheaper side. And as a consumer, if history repeats itself again, where Sony doesn't have a strong launch window, shut up, Siri, I didn't talk to you. Um, if history repeats itself again,
That's what
where
I'm saying.
PlayStation has a weak launch, but this time Xbox has a better price point,
Yep.
then people are going back to Xbox.
Man,
And
I was speculating that even before these new consoles were come out because no, to your point, I feel like yeah, I think like the exclusive market is probably because again, like I think because even like I'll even bring in like another article that I peeped. I'll see if I can pull it up. But like it was pretty much a conversation about the console war, and then people is just like pretty much like let's just get it on the air. Like there's no like the console war is over. Like in terms of like there's no console war anymore. Like the companies like Xbox and Sony, like I said, they said basically Xbox moved on. Um, like there's no console war anymore. So like people have to look at the way these companies are approaching like their products, like the gaming video game industry in general, like how they're approaching like launch titles and um, pushing their consoles out, not under the lens that it's a console war anymore. Let me see if I can find that on that. Yeah, look, I put it up. Console war is over. Yeah, consoles are dead, but the console war is over. I have yeah, it was like I saw one on Forbes.
well, while you're looking at that quick, like the other thing
Yeah,
too is like what screwed Xbox this console generation is once again price and then kind of forcing connect on people. Um, Xbox had the better first year as far as games. It's just PlayStation was cheaper. So people that were going to play their Call of Duty or sports games didn't have to spend the extra $100 to do that. I think in general though, like, as long as like they also didn't have a strong like launch game. Like they didn't have like Halo or anything like that. They had Forza, they had Killer Instinct. Um, Dead Rising 3 was fun as well, but not having like a Halo, which was like their system launch for the original Xbox, and I think it was also like a big thing for the 360. I don't know if it launched with the 360, but I know it was a big game for that too. Um, really made it difficult for people that, especially like their shooter fan base, to like jump in when PlayStation was offering the same experience but $100 cheaper. And by the time Titanfall came out on Xbox, it was kind of like late. Like people were buying them because of Titanfall, but it's like I already spent $400 on motherfucking PS4. I think this console generation of is Sony. Even through that presentation, none of that stood out as something that like I'm going to buy the system because of this.
for the system.
Yeah, like except for like Ratchet and Clank, I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank fan. There was like nothing else where I was like, damn, like I absolutely have to get a PS4 on launch. But then again, like Xbox is kind of there for me too. Like yeah, Halo, but we haven't seen any new Halo footage or anything. And like
Yeah,
these developers got to do a better job of like selling niggas on buying this stuff. Granted, I know we're in a pandemic and stuff like that, but a lot of developers are able to work remote and stuff like that. This is how like Destiny keeps rolling and stuff like that. But
with content, which they have surprisingly, they are rolling out with stuff.
yeah, it's just they have to really show the consumer something, because honestly, there might not be many sales of the next gen consoles if nothing crazy is coming out.
I know they might have a rough first, few months to a year. Yeah, I think the first year, like the first quarter, I think the first quarter is going to be rough. I don't think they're going to hit the numbers they want. Of course, I'm open to being wrong, but I just don't think they're going to hit the numbers they want. Um, I'm just going by. It just feels like, yeah, with the pandemic, everything going on, and like we just saying, the console war is over. And I found and I was looking over the article from Forbes, and they're just pretty much saying that at the time this article was written, this was back in February this year. This is before we had certain news about the game, but at the time, they were looking at the fact that if the Xbox Series X is stronger than the PS5, this was the speculation. Then they're like, oh, the PS5 will most likely be cheaper. But look, with what information we have now, and then the leak price points supposedly for the PS5, and people, since Xbox X, Series X, when they had their presentation, it was the guys that people was like, yeah, the Xbox console is going to be cheaper. So it's one thing if it's going to be cheaper, but if it actually still is more powerful, supposedly it was going to be more powerful, even though PS5 was supposed to be like the most powerful console that will come out, like it's supposed to be really powerful. But
Yeah.
even then, if they come out about the same power level, like we can look at this like DBZ, if it's literally Goku and Vegeta, and then Goku's the protagonist, but Vegeta's a goon. Vegeta's a goon. So niggas will go with Vegeta, aka Xbox. Like, and again, it's not a console war anymore. So like, it's not even like they're beefing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
niggas don't care about like the power at a certain point. Like, yes, the PS4 was a bit more powerful than the Xbox One, but now the Xbox One X is the most powerful console on the market. But people are going to buy it now, but Sony still largely won the console war. Again, it's going to have to do with price and what you're offering at the beginning. And Sony is shaping to be like another PS3, where this is going to be an expensive console. Microsoft is going to undercut them by at least $100, at least for their most powerful one. And then for Halo Infinite, as they're saying, to be a launch title, is going to be a system seller. Like, there's no, like, through that whole thing, there hasn't been anything that's like, yo, this is coming out day one. I need to buy this for the PS5. Or this is coming out within like the first 2 months. I need to buy it. Like the Spider-Man thing, it looked like it was going to be, but aside from that, like what else? Like we don't have dates on other stuff. Like we might get the Sackboy and then the Playroom stuff, which looks pretty cool, but I don't think I'd buy a PS5 just for that.
yeah.
Meanwhile, like if I'm an Xbox person, like Halo's enough.
Halo's
Halo
enough.
has Halo has the story component and the multiplayer, which is going to last me for months on end, if not years, as long because Microsoft's going to have that support.
It's gonna have the support, and even for Cyberpunk, Cyberpunk 2077, on Xbox One is gonna automatically convert to the Xbox Series X versions for free. Like that was stated before. So even for that game, because even that game is probably is out of titles, like that's one of the biggest titles, AAA titles coming into the next gen series. Mid in between the end of this current gen and then going into the next gen. And Xbox is already prepared to, with the marketing for that. Because even in this article, even just to round off where we could get to the main topic for gaming real quick. Like in the article, it mentioned that what do I say this dude's name for Xbox. One of the spokesmen for Xbox Phil Spencer, yeah, the chief. He claimed, this was at the time, that he's like Sony and Nintendo is not the rivals they're going up against. It's like their rivals are honestly Google and Amazon. I mean, at the
Yeah,
time this article was written, I think just because of the amount of resources, the money that they have, that if they do step foot into the gaming world, yeah, it may be rocky at first. They're gonna honestly not know what they're doing, but as time goes on, if they really the right people in leadership, put the right, with enough money, hey, just throw enough money at it, something will stick. Uh, of course, the right people leading the way, like they can very quickly catch up in the console. In terms of console, whether it's the Stadia, the Stadia right now is Garbo. This is real, but the Stadia 2 might be completely different. And so I see why the bigger picture is the fact is the console war is not down to Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox anymore. Now it's there's other competitors that may step in. Heck, there was even something I heard about KFC. There's a KFC console. Speaking of which, there's a KFC console, gaming console. So, bro, I don't know if troll or not. It's just that the idea of just other companies and other people having consoles. Remember, Soldier Boy had a console. The story, the details aside, he technically had a console.
No, he didn't. He just dropped shit like bootleg Chinese consoles.
Oh, you're name on it. You got the reverb auto tune going on right now.
Hold on.
All right, T-Pain, take your time, B.
All right, yo.
Word, yeah, you good now? You good?
No, he didn't even have a console. He just slapped his name over some bootleg Chinese consoles and called it a day.
What do you think? What do you think? Google, and Amazon what are they gonna really do? No, I'm not gonna say they're gonna slap the name on a Chinese console, but they're gonna have a team of people that would be yo, come up with a console that we want to compete. And then Jeff Bezos is gonna be word. He's just gonna sign his name, and
that's not the same. Come on, we know better than that. That's not the same.
Yo, but all right, fine. But but I downloaded it. I still need to play it. But Crucible was the third-person shooter Amazon came out with, their full title game. And I looked at some reviews and it seemed pretty mixed. So I wanna give it my own shot because they're also gonna drop an MMO soon. And then people are really are skeptical, even more skeptical about the MMO than with Crucible, because they said Crucible's launch really wasn't that good. If you even compare it to Valorant, to Riot shooter at the time.